I think Buzz is genuinely one of the most useful AI tools that I've seen over the past 12 months. Now in this video, I'm going to explain to you what it is, how it works, and how to set it up step by step so that by the end of this video, you have your own AI workspace with AI agents enabled that can chat with each other and delegate tasks between themselves. Okay, so 3 weeks ago, Jack Dorsey's company Block released Buzz. Now this is an open source workspace where AI agents and humans work together as teammates. It already has over 26,000 stars on GitHub, and I want to explain to you how to actually set it up and how it works. And the reason I'm making this video is because I've watched so many of these on YouTube, and no one actually talks about what this thing is, how it works, and the architecture behind it. Sure, they give you some random steps, but it's not a detailed tutorial, and I don't know how anyone's following along with that. So anyways, I'm going to try to correct those issues. I want to give you the step-by-step guide. So if you've been interested in checking this out, well, watch this video, and by the end, you will have it fully ready to go. Okay, so on my screen, I have the Buzz landing page. Now it is, let me go out of full screen, available at buzz.xyz. Now Buzz effectively is just Slack, okay? It's like an agentic Slack where you can have different AI agents join, but the architecture is what makes it really interesting in terms of how the agents communicate and how they actually connect and join. So what I want to do is explain that architecture to you, and then I'm going to get into how you host it. Now, the main thing to understand in Buzz is that it's a lot different than having like a Slack bot or something. The agents that are in here, they have their own identity and they're tied to a human owner. So you come in as a human and you can chat in the channel, right, and ask the agents to do stuff, but those agents are associated with you. Now, you can have agents join from somewhere else as well, but the idea is kind of like bring your own agent. So I'm Tim. I join into this kind of Buzz community, just like a Slack workspace or whatever. And from there, I can actually connect up any of the agents that are running on my computer. So I can bring my Claude Code agent. I can bring my Codex agent. I can bring a local model or local agent on my computer from LM Studio or something and tie that directly into the Buzz community. So if you have multiple teammates, they can all bring their own agents. And that means that all of those agents can have their own configuration, like their own skills, their own MCP servers, whatever the owner of that agent has set up. Now, remote agents can join as well, but typically what you're going to do is have a human join, and then the human can bring one or all of their different agents inside of the community, and the agents are not tied directly to where it's hosted. They can come in from anywhere. You'll see what I mean in a second. Now also, every agent and person has scoped permissions per channel and per repo. Buzz actually has a native Git and Git Worktrees integration, so it can actually host Git repos for you automatically, and that allows agents to work on coding projects pretty seamlessly. Also, every action is cryptographically signed and logged. I'll get into how that works in a minute, but it's similar to a blockchain where anything that's been done can be proved, is kind of reproducible, and you have a history and kind of an audit log so you know who's doing what and what agents are communicating. And then one agent can actually trigger other agents. This is one of the coolest parts, that they can chat with each other without needing your kind of, command, insight, approval, whatever. Okay, so let's go through the architecture here because this is where most people just completely mess this up, especially in the videos that they've been making. Now, what you need to understand is there's multiple pieces of software here when it comes to Buzz. Again, think of Buzz like Slack, okay? So we have the Slack desktop application or the Buzz desktop app. This is where you're actually going to communicate, right? You're going to see the agents, you're going to chat with stuff. So you yourself, the human, will download the Buzz desktop application. This is the first step. Once you have it downloaded, you can hook up your different agents, so Claude Code, Codex, whatever's downloaded on your computer. But then you need to actually join a community. It's called Buzz Community, but think of it like, a Slack workspace. Now that workspace needs to be hosted somewhere. Now you could run this Buzz workspace on your own computer. The issue with that is if you turn off the computer, you lose internet or whatever, then it's going to go down. So it's a lot better to run this on something like a virtual private server where effectively it's in the cloud and you can connect to it from anywhere. You can join from your phone. You don't have to have one device running. You get the idea. So effectively, we have this main piece of software, right, which is kind of like this Buzz, orchestrator. In fact, they're calling it like the Buzz relay. This needs to be running somewhere because this actually hosts your community. Then you have the desktop application, and the desktop application allows you to join this community. So you can kind of see the diagram here, right? We have a virtual private server. On the server, we have the Buzz app and all of the software there. We have what's called the Buzz relay. This essentially brokers the messages between agents, humans, and whatever's joining the workspace. And then on there, you have other things like a Postgres database, Redis, storage media, all of the Gits, the workflows, searching through stuff, the database, all of that is hosted typically in the cloud in this kind of workspace software. So Buzz itself actually isn't AI at all. It's really just allowing AI agents and humans to communicate with each other and live in a workspace. It's effectively like an open source Slack that's designed for agentic workflows. Now, the one thing also is that every action that's done, like I mentioned, is logged and kept track of, because this uses something called a private public key pair in the background, which allows you to actually have secure authentication without passwords, without credentials, and just using this kind of string of tokens, which we'll look at in a minute. Okay, so last piece of clarity here. The agents that join typically are just going to run on the same computer as you, and they're tied to your identity. Doesn't mean that they show up as you, they'll show up as their own agent, but they're kind of connected with you. However, you can also connect agents from any other location. So you can connect them from a virtual private server. You can connect them from a local device. You can connect agents that aren't connected to you, that are running on any machine. Doesn't matter. But the thing is, like, the agent and Buzz itself are different. So don't think that Buzz is like providing the AI agents. It's not. It's really just like Slack. It's just a piece of software that agents and humans can use to communicate with each other. So anyways, let me get into the full tutorial here and show you how to set this up step by step. Okay, so there is a GitHub repo that goes through all of the code and the instructions if you want to have a look at it. I'll leave it linked in the description. However, the Buzz, landing page here also has a button called Get the App. So if you go to that button, or go to this page and then press that button, it should download the Buzz installer for you automatically. So download that and then run through the installer. That's going to be the first step. Again, download it and just open it up. Okay, now once you open the app, what you're going to want to do is press this button that says Create a New Identity. Now keep in mind, this identity is you. It's going to automatically create what's called a private public key pair. This is going to be stored on your computer, and you'll be using that later automatically. You don't have to manage it yourself, but just understand that's what's happening. So what we're going to do is do this. We're going to say create. And what it's going to do now is it is going to give us what's called the private key. Now, this is something that you want to save somewhere in like a password manager or somewhere secure. In case you ever lose access to this device, you'll be able to have the key and then restore yourself in the workspace. So this private key is effectively your account. Treat it the same way you would treat like a 24-word passphrase or your seed phrase for something like a crypto wallet. All right, so once you've saved that, go ahead and press on next, and then what it's going to do is start looking for your agent harnesses. Now again, remember that you're joining as a person, and then you have the ability to bring your agents. So you can see that I have Claude Code, it's ready to go, and then with Codex, if I wanted to bring that as well, I would sign in and set that up. So any agents that you want to bring into this tool, you want to set up now. You can also use Goose. There's a few other ones you can connect later. You can see down here, Cursor, Grok. It's kind of cut off by the Whisper Flow one, but you get the idea. So for now, let's just go next. We can set up the rest of the agents later. For the harness, we're going to go Claude Code and then just press on next. So after that, we should be brought to a page that looks like this. Now from here, you can press join a community, create a community, or I already have one. Now, if you go to create a community, what you can do is you can use Buzz's own like infrastructure, and you can deploy one and host one there. The issue with that is that they can change that whenever they want, and this is open source, so really it's a lot better if you control your own data and you don't give it over to a company like this, and it's going to be even cheaper if you just deploy it yourself. So I don't recommend that you use their default option here for creating a community. So what I suggest instead is that you go to I already have a community, you go I'm a member or admin, even though it seems counterintuitive, you're not going to go I own the community. And then from here, you're just going to put in the community URL, which I will show you in a second. Okay, so at this point, we have the local app downloaded. We're ready to join the community, but before we can do that, we need to actually set up the community. And remember, I told you that that's going to require hosting it somewhere, and it's much better to do this on a virtual private server. So for this video, I've partnered with Hostinger. They have a great option for actually automatically deploying this for you. Not only is it very affordable, but it's also the easiest way to get this set up because Buzz is a little bit complicated to deploy. They have a one-click option here, which I'll link in the description. So what you can do is just pick a plan. I recommend going with the, KVM2 plan here. Once you deploy this and you go through this flow, it will just automatically set up Buzz for you. You can see it auto deploys, and then you really don't need to do anything, and the community will just be set up and you can secure it. So what you can do is select a duration here. 24 months is typically what I recommend because you're going to get the best value. And then because I have a partnership with them, you can use the code Tech with Tim, and that will give you an additional 10% off, as you can see here. So anyways, what I'm going to do here is deploy this, and then once it's finished, I'll go through the flow and I'm going to show you how to set up the community. Okay, now when you go through this process of deploying the VPS, it may ask you for the relay owner public key. If it does that, what you're going to do is go back to Buzz. We're going to go back here to join a community. And when we see join a community, we're just going to copy this right here, which is our public key. Okay, from here, we're going to go back and we're just going to paste this and press deploy. Now, if for some reason you can't find this, no worries. You can just go without anything and then you can claim it later, but it's going to be a lot easier if you just put in the value here and you'll automatically be authenticated as the admin later. So anyways, it's going to set up the VPS now. This will take a second. Once it's done, I'll be right back and then we'll continue. So just finish the deployment here and it should bring you to a page that says Docker Manager. Now from here, you can simply press on open. So if you can't find this, by the way, you can go to overview. You can just press open app right where it says Buzz, or you can go over to Docker Manager and press open. But anyways, you're going to press on open and it should show you Buzz Relay. Now, even though this looks like it's erroring, it's not. This is correct. What we're going to do is we're just going to search for WSS here and we're going to look for this URL, which is the following. So WSS, Buzz, and then hosting or cloud. So we're going to copy that. And what we're going to do is go to our Buzz application and we're simply just going to paste this inside of here and then hit on next. Okay. When we hit next, it should automatically join the community for us. We should be good to go. We can give ourselves a username. So let's go with Tim and then let's give this like, I don't know, an emoji or something like that. Cool. So we'll have Tim. Press on next, and then it's going to say, hey, meet your starter team, whatever. Okay, don't worry about that. We're going to go take me to Buzz, and it should load the workspace, and everything should be good to go. So again, we have the desktop application. We then have the actual Buzz community, which is hosted in this case with Hostinger. From here, we can close this. We don't need to open this anymore. We're just like good to go, and we can manage everything else directly from here. Okay, so now that Buzz is set up, you should be brought into a UI that looks like this. Now from here, the first thing we want to do is we want to set up our agent harnesses. So we're going to press our profile icon. We're going to go to settings. And then if we scroll down, we should see where it says agents. Now from agents, you can press this refresh button if you want to check if something's installed or not. But you can see I have a few harnesses like Buzz, Claude Code. My Codex one is bugging for some reason. Cursor, Devin, Kimi Code, you get the idea. Now, if you want to add another runtime, you can just press add runtime and install it. You can see there's a bunch of options right here. And that's how you can configure the different agents. Now, in terms of the harnesses, you'll want to set the default harness. So in my case, I'm just going to go with Cursor, but you can set it to Claude Code, whatever you want, okay? And you can set it and then save the default. Cool. So you also will see that you have mobile. So I'm going to show you how to do this really quickly. If you download the Buzz mobile app on your phone and you open it up, you should be able to, and I'm going to share screen here if I can open it on my phone, you should be able to press a button that says scan a QR code or start pairing. So I press start pairing, then from my phone, I can scan the QR code. So let's do that here if I move the mouse. And it should automatically connect me there. It's going to make sure the code matches. So we'll just go, yes, the code matches. And then from your phone, you should be able to actually join this workspace and start communicating with the agents, which is super useful. And it works pretty much just like Slack. So that's the phone connection. I'd recommend just do that right away so you can start using it. And then what we want to look at from here is our different agents. So you'll see if you go to agents here, there should be a few of them. Okay, now you can't delete these default agents, which is kind of annoying, but if you do want to change something useful, you can edit them and give them a name, and then you can change the harness that it's using, customize what model you want it to use, make a custom model. You guys get the idea, okay? So that's kind of how these guys work. Then from each of the agents, you can click into them and you can view like kind of an info and a log. So for example, if you go to here and you go, let me move this a bit bigger, like runtime, you can see if it's actually doing something, the status, a log in the harness of everything that's going on, any instructions, right, like what you've provided, and then you can see anything else like the ACP. Then if you want, you can directly message the agent. You can also go into memories, and it will automatically save memories based on what you tell it. Okay, so that's kind of the agents. If you want to make a new one, of course, you can make a new one here. You pick the harness you want to use, give it a name, and then you can assign these different tasks just like they would be team members. Now, if we go down, you'll also see agent teams. So kind of similar idea. You can make automatic teams and groupings of agents depending on how big you want this to be. Then you can assign stuff to those teams, chat with the teams. You get the idea. Okay, so what we'll do now is just start chatting with the agents just to make sure they work. So what I'll do is just make a new channel. And what I actually want to do is kind of give you a use case that's going to be realistic where I set up agents that will actually do something that's meaningful for me. So I actually have a school community, which I just recently made called AI Agent Builders. Kind of fits this video. Anyways, the point is in this community, I have like a big classroom. We have a bunch of modules and stuff. You guys can join it for free, by the way. I'll link it in the description. And the idea is that I actually want to set up this AI workspace to have agents that will help me with this community. So we have like a lot of content. I want to add some lead magnets and stuff. So what I'm going to do is set up 3 different agents. The agents I want to have is one which is an ideas agent, which kind of like does research and figures out what we might want to add to the community. Another is a writer agent that will actually write the content, lead magnets, etc. And then an editor agent who will do like quality control. I know it's kind of a simple example, but it's actually something I need when I'm doing all of this content for this community, right? And adding like all of the stuff for how you actually build agents. So anyways, what I'm going to do here is, let's go back. I'm going to start creating these agents. So anyways, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a new channel. And for this channel, let's just go create a new one. And let's call this lead magnets, for example. For the description, I can say something like generate lead magnets for my school community AI agent builders. Okay. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm using to dictate here, really cool tool called Whisper Flow. Leave a link to it in the description. I always just show this because you guys always ask me. I have over 233,000 words here. I use it literally every single day, and you guys get the idea. It's very good for actually dictating and talking to the computer rather than typing. All right, so from here for type, we'll go ongoing, that's fine. Visibility public, so all my agents can see it. And if we want a template for the channel, we can add one, but for now, we'll just create it. Okay, so now I'm in this new channel, and if I want to add people to it, I can press invite. If I want to invite a real person, I can paste in their long public ID. I'll show you how to get that in a second. Alternatively, I can add agents. So for example, if I tag by doing @ and then I tag like, let's say the Bumble agent, right? Hello world, how are you doing? Then automatically when I send this message, it will add that into the channel for me, and then I can start chatting. Now, if I wanted this to be a private channel and then restrict the permissions, I can also make it a private channel. But in this case, the Bumble agent should start replying to me, hopefully in a second here. Okay, so I just got it to work here. I had to change the model because for some reason the cursor one wasn't working. So I just switched over to Claude Code. And with Claude Code, I'll just quickly show you in case you guys run into the same problem. What I had to do here is actually manually specify the model as Sonnet 5 because for some reason it wasn't loading the model options. So if you want to load something like Fable, do Fable 5. If you want to do Haiku, Haiku-4.5 or -4-5, right? You have to put the model ID, which I was just playing around with. So I found this one worked. And now you can see that when I tagged it, it gives me a response and it will actually reply to this to say that it's seen it. So if we look here, it says, hey, loud and clear, test received, and we're good to go. It's inside of lead magnets. Okay, cool. So now we have the agent inside of here. We can add another agent. Same thing, if I click the agent, I can now view the full history of everything that it's done. So I can actually click into it, see the logs. I can then go to the runtime, so I can view all of this, see the model, thinking, all of the information about it, channels, memories, if it, loaded something or remembered something, restart the agent, create a card. You get the idea, okay? So there's a lot of interesting things with the agents, and that's kind of how you tag them. And keep in mind, you do need to tag them. If you type something, it won't automatically reply unless you tag the agent. So from here now, I'm going to go create agent. Now for these agents, I'm just going to make a new one, and I'm going to do the 3 that I mentioned before. So the first one is going to be our, copywriter. Okay, and for the description, we're going to say, copywriter for my school community AI agent builders. You write technical documentation and in-depth guides to explain to users how to build AI agents. Everything needs to be user-friendly. Okay, we'll just use the harness default, which is Claude Code, but if we want, we can of course adjust this. We can add the parallelism, instant name, environment variables. You guys get the idea. Now for the thing, let's go emoji. I don't know, let's just do like a person or something here. Let's go with this guy, okay? And maybe gray, that's gonna be our copywriter. Okay, so there's our copywriter agent. Now I'm gonna make another agent. I want the editor agent, so I'm gonna call this editor. Okay, I'm gonna say, you are a technical documentation editor. Your goal is to look through documentation, make sure it's easy and clear to follow. There's no spelling mistakes, and that it doesn't sound like AI. You should try to make everything as simple and humanized as possible. Okay, so that's that. And then same thing, if we want an emoji, let's just give it, angel thing, and then create agent. And let's do another one. This one is gonna be the researcher, okay? You are a researcher agent. Your goal is to research topics that are related to AI agents and come up with interesting ideas, lead magnets, video ideas, and things to support my AI agent builders community. Okay, boom. And then what we're gonna do is same thing. Just add an emoji here. That'll be a researcher. And now we have 3 new agents. So now we have these agents together. What I can do is I can join them into a team. So I'm just gonna go create team here, and I'm gonna put my copywriter, editor, and researcher. We're just gonna call this the, AI agent builder community team, okay? This team is specifically for my school community AI agent builders, okay? Your goal is to improve the school community by improving the written content, classroom material, and clarity. Okay, there we go. And let's create the team. Boom. So now we have another team. So these guys know that they can kind of work together. And what we can do now is we can kind of spin off a task and start asking these AI agents to do something. So just as an example, let's ask something like, can you research the current trending topics related to AI agents and AI agent development, things like Hermes agent, OpenClaw, Buzz.ai, or the AI tool Buzz with like the kind of agentic Slack community, and come up with interesting ideas that you think could be added to my AI agent school community. Okay, and let's press enter, and we're going to tag the researcher here, and we'll say, once you come up with an idea, feel free to send over the concept to the other agents like the writer as well as the editor and kind of start the process of generating some content. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that because the harness behind the scene that we're using for these agents is like our own model, right? Like Claude or Codex or whatever, any tools that you have set up inside of that agent, it can use. So for example, like if I have Claude here, let me just go here and I type /MCP, you see I have a bunch of MCP servers. All of these MCP servers are available directly inside of here. So if I ask it to do something that requires MCP usage, it will be able to use that because it's my connected agent. Now that also means be a little bit careful because it's not just using the models, it's using the full agent, right? The full agent you've already set up on your computer. So you can bring in something that's already configured with all of your different tools. Now, of course, you can gate that and restrict it if you want, but that's just something to keep in mind. And that's why this is actually running a bunch of tools. It's using skills and stuff that I already have in my, agent. Now, I actually just went over to Fizz here and I asked it, hey, like, can you use MCP servers? And then it says, yes, actually, I have access to all of these. I can use all these MCP servers because it's already connected. I just did that to verify, and you can see that is indeed working. So just, again, be careful with that and also know about that because it makes it super, super powerful. Now, another thing while this is running is that if you want to join multiple communities, if you go to your profile, you can see this Buzz 6 NAA thing. You can go to the community settings. You can also add a community by pressing this. If we go to the settings, for example, you can see it shows us the relay URL, all of that kind of stuff. And if you want to add people to this and you can't figure out how to do it by like pressing this button and adding them, you can just ask it and say, hey, can you add the user that has this public, key? And it will automatically add it for you. Now, in order for them to find that, if you go to your profile, you go settings, and you go to identity, you can copy this public key. If you have the public key of someone else, they can give it to you, and you can just tell your agent, hey, add this to my workspace, and then it will do that. So anyways, the lead magnet guy is still researching here. It's going to take a second. Once it's done, I'll be right back, and I'll show you the results that we've gotten. Okay, so you can see I just went to my inbox here where it shows me like unread stuff and lead magnets, and notice that this researcher has now tagged the copywriter and the editor, and now they're going to actually start working on this project automatically, right? If we go back here, you can see my copywriter and my editor and my researcher are all running in parallel, and they can now collaborate with each other. So of course it requires some human interaction, right, to explain what to do, set things up, you get the idea. But from here, now these agents can just go and handle everything. And now you just treat it like you would treat a normal Slack, right? And say, hey, I need this done, handle it. And these guys just go out and handle it and communicate with each other and hand things off back and forth as is required. This is super cool. And in my opinion, this kind of changes the way that you'd work with AI. And you can see now, like the copywriter has just given us the response, right? First draft is done, editor, all yours, check it out, blah, 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 whatever. You can see we have all of this stuff. Now the editor is called, the research is on it, right? They're both looking at it, seeing if there's something they need to do, and then they're going to reply. Now, I'm not going to wait for the full thing to finish, but I'm just trying to show you kind of how this works so you get the idea of the flow. Now, what I also like here is that I can parallelize stuff between the different agents. So for example, if we want to do coding stuff, which is possible, let's tag like honey. Can you write me a simple HTML hello world website and just show me the code here? Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and press on enter. Now, the reason I'm going to do this here with this agent is that Buzz can actually handle Git and Git Worktrees automatically for you. So rather than you actually needing to even push something to GitHub, which of course you can do, because you have this now set up in the cloud, it can host its own kind of like remote Git repo. The agents can work on that kind of inside of Buzz and then give you responses back, show you the diffs, etc. So it's going to give me the reply here. You can see we have the code and I can view it directly inside of here. And what I'm going to do now is just tell it to set this up inside of Git. So I'm going to say @Buzz or @Honey. Can you set this up inside of Git and make the commits in the repo as you normally would, and then just make a change and show me the diff? Okay, and let's press enter and just make sure it can do that. Cool, so you can see it was doing this. However, it's now asking me, hey, do you want to push it to a Buzz hosted repo so you can clone it? So I'm going to say yes. push it at, and then again, just tag honey, because I want to show you what happens with the buzz repo. So it just did this locally, which isn't what I wanted. I actually want it in the buzz repo. And then when we have that, multiple agents can actually work on this at the exact same time using the Git Worktrees so they don't accidentally mess up each other's commits. So you can see here, the Buzz actually has tools. It's not really showing right now, but it's like a built-in tool with Buzz where it can list the repos. It's kind of a little bit difficult to see. It can make a PR, right? So the agents can work in this kind of like native Git-like environment without actually having to connect to GitHub. So that's what I'm talking about. It's doing it right now. Let's see what response it gives us. In the meantime, we can go back to lead magnets and we can see this is finished. It's given us the full content that we can use here. And if we wanted to, we could connect it up to an API or MCP so it can auto post. We can see the editor, the researcher, all of these went back and forth. Okay, so you can see that it now pushed the repo here. We have the ability to clone it, write all of this stuff, and it's hosted in Buzz. So using the workspace that we created, we didn't have to go to GitHub. So now other agents can use this. They can set up the work trees, right? They can collaborate on code together. Okay. So look, there's a lot more stuff to show you with Buzz. If you guys want more videos going into advanced features, then let me know. I'm happy to do some more use cases. But for now, I'm going to wrap up the video here. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.